What is going on, everybody? AHS Rules back again with another video, and we're here for another Ring of Honor TV review, episode number 37. And for the past couple of weeks, I've had to break down some announcements and not do strictly reviews, and I always find that interesting. And that is the case in this video, because before we get to the review portion, we have a major announcement. I'm trying to think of another word to use that's not announcement, but I'm struggling with that, so I will move on. As you can read in the title, Samoa Joe vacated the Ring of Honor Television Championship. Last week, he broke the record for the most days as a Ring of Honor World Television Champion. Then on Collision, he was challenged by Keith Lee for a Ring of Honor television title match to happen on Dynamite. And to be honest, I would say Keith Lee was probably his biggest opponent in this TV title run. And guess what? Samoa Joe retained against Keith Lee. Then following the match, he talks about how he is the longest reigning television champion, and that he is hungry, and that he is hungry for, hungry, same crap, for more. And that he wants the AEW World Championship, and that he's vacating the Ring of Honor Television Championship. Now, I don't really see a positive in this at all. I see little to no sense. It's obviously something we're going to have to wait and see what happens to follow it, but as of this moment, I don't like this decision. It's a confusing one, and on this episode of television, they talked about, hey, Samoa Joe vacated the TV title. We'll have an update from Tony Khan next week. So we got a week to speculate. Oh, are they going to have a TV title tournament? Are they just going to get rid of the title altogether? We don't know. We'll see in a week. I feel if they're going to get rid of the title altogether, hey, just go ahead and announcement. Hey, Samoa Joe just broke this record. We're going to retire this championship, because the main complaint I've seen from fans, and I know I'm splitting this between AEW and Ring of Honor fans, but from the AEW fan base, they think the company has too many championships, and especially when you're factoring in the Ring of Honor championships, hey, there's definitely too many damn championships. And so this, any other time a title has been vacated in AEW, they've immediately announced what they're going to do with the championship, and most of the time it's a tournament or a matchup. Hey, the title's going to be filled, the void's going to be filled. Or with this, I don't know. So it's a lot could happen with this. So like I said, in the grand scheme of things, I don't understand it, because Samoa Joe's already challenged MJF for the World Heavyweight Championship while he was already the TV champion. And this is a weird thing, but Samoa Joe, essentially his whole AEW run, he's been the Ring of Honor Television Champion, because he defeated Minoru Suzuki on Dynamite less than a month in. I think it was week 2 or 3 of Samoa Joe in the company. So I probably should have fact checked that, but it was very early on. So Samoa Joe's whole run in AEW, when he feuded with Darby Allin, lost to Darby Allin for the TNT title, he was ROH TV champion. When he lost to Wardlow, like I just said, most recently when he lost to MJF. So a lot of people were like, well, why didn't he lose to Keith Lee? Well, he's supposed to be facing MJF now. You can't have him looking weak. I don't believe that crap. I would have liked Keith Lee being ROH TV champion. It would have gave us something different, because like I said, for the past year plus, almost 2 years, Samoa Joe's been TV champion. So, and Keith Lee, like I said, I would like to see on ROH programming. He's an ROH alumni, and they've kind of dropped, I'm not going to say they've dropped this Shane Taylor storyline, but it's just they never really mention it. And then, maybe this week they're like, oh, hey, remember he's feuding with Shane Taylor. There's still, that storyline is very blurry and confusing. But like I said, the main story that Keith Lee has going right now involves an ROH talent in Shane Taylor. So I would like Keith Lee to win the title. But you obviously can't go back and do that. But the main point is, I don't see any positives in this yet. Maybe down the line that I will. But as of right now, I don't. And the last thing is, I have no clue when the hell Samoa Joe is going to face MJF. The main thing in AEW right now is MJF has 5 storylines going on. He's feuding with Bullet Club Gold. He's worried about who the hell the Devil is, because the Devil's near him and the Devil's group. I don't know. They don't have a group name. Then Samoa Joe's hey, I want to help you, but I do want a AEW title match. The Acclaim's getting involved in this crap, and Wardlow's back. MJF has a lot of crap going on, and like I said, Full Gear, MJF's facing Jay White. Also, in the 0 Hour, he's facing the Guns. He needs a mystery partner. Maybe that's Samoa Joe. I don't know where the hell they're going to squeeze in this Samoa Joe title match. And I also just don't see Samoa Joe winning the AEW title. I don't know. I hate it. And like I said, he already challenged MJF once, and he was the TV champion. The TV title was not that damn big of a distraction and not that big of a deal. I know I went on way too long about this, but I just needed to, I see no positives in this. Yet. Again, let's give it a week. Maybe in a week, I'm more mad. Maybe in a week, I'm more understanding. We shall see. So I'm going to write down that the review portion starts 6 minutes in. So, let's go to the review. The first matchup is Tony Nese versus Serpentico. I probably should have broke down what happened on this episode of ROH, but you can also tell that by the title. There's a World Heavyweight title match. And a lot of other good matches that took place as well. Tony Nese versus Serpentico. Nese dominates the early portion of this match with body slams and his kicks in the corner. And then Ethan Page, a man that Tony Nese beat a couple weeks ago, comes out in workout gear because he believed that this was going to be group exercising that Tony Nese leads every week. And this leads to Tony Nese getting distracted and rolled up by Serpentico, leading to Serpentico winning the matchup. So a very big upset in the eyes of many. Congratulations to Serpentico for winning. Next, we get a Proven Ground match between Athena versus Heidi Howitzer, which is a great name, and I'm surprised I did not botch it. To open the show up, we got a recap of everything that happened last week, in which Athena retained her women's championship with the help of Billy Starks versus Mercedes Martinez, and then they showed the segment in which Athena gave Billy Starks. She was allowed back to be a minion because she was no longer supposed to be that, but now she is back. In this matchup, it was a back-and-forth matchup that ends with an Athena form. I did not write many notes down, but this was a good matchup, and one of Athena's better Proven Ground matchups, because most of the time, Athena just beats the holy hell out of her opponents, where this time it was more back-and-forth, but the main note was Athena winning with a forearm. Next matchup, Kyle Fletcher versus Lee Johnson. They don't really call him Big Shotty Lee Johnson anymore. I think that is a great nickname, but I always just write down Lee Johnson. I never call him Big Shotty. So here we go. Fletcher pushes Johnson while he is on the second rope prior to the match starting, so that leads to no code of honor because Johnson is very angry about it. Fletcher keeps going to the outside with Johnson challenging to come back in, and then Johnson joins him on the outside just to get caught with a super kick and then gets slammed onto the apron. Then we see in the back Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty watching the matchup, and I've already they're recruiting Lee Johnson to join Shane Taylor Promotions. And like I said, if that happens, that's good. Me personally, I'm going to be at hell because I'm going to have to write down Lee Johnson, Lee Moriarty, and I'm just going to be very, very confused. But they're watching the matchup in the back on the TV, and they're happy when Johnson is attempting his comeback. Both men exchange kicks, with Johnson hitting a top rope suplex and a frog splash for a 2 count. Then Fletcher hits a drop kick to the back of Johnson and then follows it up with a tombstone to win the matchup. And then Shane Taylor Promotions are very disappointed, and they're saying, hey, if you join us, this wouldn't be happening. If Lee Johnson can't hear them say this, but this is what they're saying to the TV. They're disappointed that Kyle Fletcher picked up the victory before his big matchup on Dynamite. I don't know what the hell this is. Kenny Omega, No More BS, The Big Show, which I would very much love it if AEW was able to call him The Giant. I don't think they're able to. Chris Jericho, Kota Ibushi versus the Don Callis family. Now, I don't know who is representing the Don Callis family in this matchup because the graphic literally just showed Don Callis. I know that Kyle Fletcher is a member of the family. I know Powerhouse Hobbs is a member of the family. I know who Konosuke Takeshita is a member of the family, which, remember when he competed in ROH? That was 2 episodes, and then he ain't been back. I would love to see him back. And then Sammy Guevara. But Sammy Guevara's been out with an injury, so maybe those are the 4 men competing. We shall see. So I just want to mention that. Next matchup, we have Charlotte Renegade versus Legit Layla Hirsch. 2-on-1 early as the referee is distracted, and the other Renegade sister, aka Robin. I slightly forgot her name for a minute. That's why I said the other Renegade sister. is attacking Hirsch, and then Hirsch fights back with a drop kick in the corner, and then Robin causes another distraction, which leads to Rachel Ellering coming out, pushing her down, and then legit Layla Hirsch winning the matchup with an armbar. After the match, Ellering's like, hey, can we be partners, we be friends, and Hirsch just walks off. But that will not be the last that we see those two tonight. Then we have an emergency Minion emergency meeting. I still don't know if that's what it stands for, but I think I can put two and two together. That's what it is, because they're always called MEMS. And Athena, Lexi Nair, and Billy Starkz are there. And Athena's pissed at Lexi Nair for interviewing Willow Nightingale and being very nice to Willow Nightingale last week and during an interview. But Lexi Nair had to specify that, hey, I was told to do that. I have to do that. It is my job. And Athena's like, okay. But next time, tell Athena told you, no, we're not doing that. Then she talks to Billy Starkz as she is hopping her before her match versus Rachel Ellering that she wants her to beat the crap out of Rachel Ellering and that she cannot wait for Final Battle because it is going to be in her hometown and we do not know who she's facing. But to be fair, we still have a month before Final Battle takes place. Next matchup, the Iron Savages versus Cole Carter and Griff Garrison. Garrison and Bronson start the match, and I will not lie to you, there was a lot of dirty references during this matchup that I will not be repeating because, they're just words. They weren't the actual moves. But there's one move that took place that follows under that dirty reference. So I want to mention that before we got to it. But Garrison and Bronson start the match off, but Carter gets... it was already this early into the matchup. Carter gets shoved into Boulder's chest area. Then Bronson hits a tope suicida to both opponents on the outside. And then Maria Kanellis, who is managing Cole Carter and Griff Garrison, starts distracting Bronson, in which he said he was going to have something happen, but it didn't end up happening. And this leads to Carter slamming Bronson onto the stage. And then Carter and Garrison double team on Bronson in the ring. Boulder tags in to slam both of his opponents. Boulder then misses a moonsault, and then Carter hits a 450 splash for a 2 count, but the Iron Savages win the match with an elevator drop on Cole Carter. Next matchup, Rachel Ellering versus Billy Starkz. Lots of technical wrestling to start the match, but Ellering gets the advantage once Starkz is celebrating for a very long time. She hit a drop kick, I believe, and then she starts jumping up and down like, yes, and then Ellering is like, I ain't dealing with this crap. Then we got a brainbuster by Rachel Ellering for a 2 count. And then a boss woman slam, which is Ellering's finisher, is reversed. Starts her comeback with lots of suplexes. Ellering hits a TKO for a 2 count. Starkz hits a tope suicida. And then once back in the ring, Starkz hits a senton/swanton bomb for the win. And then surprisingly, Athena jumps in and attacks Rachel Ellering. And Billy Starkz, one to normally not do this and try to put a stop to it, joins in on the attack and attacks Rachel Ellering as well. This leads to legit Layla Hirsch coming out to save the day, and Athena, Billy Starkz running away, and then we're going to see this I almost said fartner. That is hilarious. Partnership/friendship continue. No, they both walk away. And I'll go ahead and mention it now because there's another backstage segment in which Lexi Nair is interviewing Rachel Ellering, and Layla Hirsch interrupts and said, hey, we're even now. I don't want to be your friend, but I don't want anybody any debts. So debts. And so she says they're even. Then Maria Kanellis, who Layla Hirsch wants her to be her manager to help her out to get another Ring of Honor Women's title shot. Maria's like, I guess you don't need me because you already have a friend, and Layla does not get a chance to explain herself. And Maria's like, you two should team together. You two should team up. So will they team up? We shall see. Next matchup is a very quick matchup. Josh Woods versus S.K. Bishop. Woods is aggressive the whole matchup, catching Bishop's crossbody attempt with a flying knee, and then he wins the matchup with a Chaos Theory. I will say this. I know Katsuyori Shibata is not signed to ROH/AEW, at least I don't think. But he was regularly appearing on Ring of Honor program. It has been about a month at least since we last seen him or heard from him. The last I remember hearing from him or seeing him was at Wrestle Dream. And every week Josh Woods competes. They're like, he's wanting to get the pure title back. I have no clue when this rematch will happen. I don't know if this rematch will happen. But it just kind of feels like Josh was just doing the same thing over and over again. Next, we get an 8-man tag team matchup as the Infantry team up with Darius Martin and Action Andretti versus Shane Taylor Promotions, Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty, and the Wingmans, Peter Avalon and Ryan Nemeth. Very early in the show, we get an interview with Action Andretti and Darius Martin, and they're talking about how, because the last 2 episodes of ROH, we saw Martin and Moriarty compete against each other, and Shane Taylor get involved in both matchups because Action Andretti was not cleared to compete, / was not there with Martin, and essentially they're just saying, hey, you always have some soldier next to you, so in this matchup, we'll have soldiers next to us, which, is literally and figuratively hilarious and true as they're teaming with the Infantry. But here we get to the matchup. All 8 men brawl to start the match off, but the first 2 legal men are Bravo and Moriarty, and Bravo gets stuck in his opponent's corner for a large portion of the early portion of the match. Then a tag is made to Andretti, and then Avalon, this is the main part of the match, Avalon accidentally punches Shane Taylor, and Shane Taylor is not affected by it, but Moriarty is more affected by it and mad about it than Shane Taylor was, as he big boots Peter Avalon, leading to Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty leaving the matchup. Which, in wrestling, this does not get talked about a lot. It gets mentioned every once in a while on ROH, which is like, oh, if we win, we get more money. The winner's purse. They kind of said, screw the money. We didn't want to team with you to begin with. We're just going to leave. So I felt this was very weird, but it doesn't make sense, because, I'm a person that wants the money. But they just said, screw that. We're just going to go ahead and leave. This leads to Avalon getting hit with the boot camp, and the Infantry, Darius Martin and Action Andretti, picking up the victory. Then the backstage segment that I talked about with Rachel Ellering and Layla Hirsch happened, and then we get another matchup, Dralistico versus Gravity. And they mentioned this several times on commentary. The brothers of 2 former Ring of Honor World Champions, Rush and Bandido, competing against one another. And fun fact, Bandido defeated Rush at Best in the World 2021 to win the Ring of Honor World Championship. We get arm drags from both men to start the matchup, and this is followed by a Dralistico dive to the outside. Then Gravity hits a springboard senton to the outside. A Dralistico sit-out powerbomb leads to a 2 count, and this is followed by a chop exchange between both men. And then we get a Gravity senton leading to a 2 count, but Dralistico wins the matchup with a springboard Canadian Destroyer. And I always say, this is weird. I always call it the Canadian Destroyer. I know it has a lot of other names. I am always just going to call it the Canadian Destroyer, unless a specific person has a specific name for it. But I want to show my respects to P.D. Williams. But now, it's time for the main event. For the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship, Eddie Kingston versus Angelico. There's a backstory between this matchup. Eddie Kingston had a proving ground match against Serpentico, who is Angelico's tag partner, a number of weeks ago, and he ended up defeating Serpentico very quickly, and Angelico felt disrespected by Eddie not showing the proper respect to him and just kind of dissing him, and Eddie's like, are you just doing this because you want a match? You want a match? You can get a match. And that was a couple weeks ago, like I said, and now it is time for that matchup to take place. A technical start by Angelico, and it is stopped once Kingston starts chopping Angelico. Angelico continues with submission attempts, including a hammerlock. This is followed by more chops by Kingston. Angelico hits a dive to the outside, and then Angelico back in the ring hits a crossbody and a vicious kick to the top of the head. Kingston follows this up with a spinning back fist, but that was only a 2 count. And then Kingston hits another spinning back fist and wins the match with a Northern Lights bomb, as Kingston will steal the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. But we end the match with a promo from Dalton Castle, who is very beaten up. His chest is all red, and he has a bandage across his nose. And I thought this was from his matchup last week on Collision. But no, he said that he headbutted a window because the store that he wanted to go to was closed, and that he's just frustrated. He's frustrated by how the viewers of Ring of Honor are treated, and they see how a champion in Eddie Kingston, which is also a bit funny because he was saying this about the television title. Dun dun dun. Is this collusion? Is this some kind of questions we should be asking? But he is mad about Eddie Kingston still being Ring of Honor World Champion. And he never officially challenges Kingston, but we do get the graphic at the bottom. Next week, another Ring of Honor World title match. Eddie Kingston versus Dalton Castle, which that matchup I believe has already been filmed because it was filmed before or after yesterday's episode of Dynamite. But that is it for this ROH TV review. Like I said, this is a very good episode. I don't really have anything to complain about besides the TV title crap, which, you know, that didn't even take place on this episode. So, like I said, maybe we'll have more answers than questions come this time next week. We already know we got a Ring of Honor World title match next week. We shall see what happens before then, though. So, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Stay safe. Have a good weekend. I'll see you in the next video.